Welcome to the Fickle Fret Slide Guide. We'll be discussing both 3-string slide guitars and 1-string diddley bows. We'll begin with a closer look at the 3-string. The strings I've used for this instrument are an A, a D, and a G string from a normal set of 6-string guitar strings. You can use various brands and sizes. They should all work fine, electric or acoustic. Again, I've used an A, a D, and a G. They're wound in the way you'd normally wind a guitar string. You'll notice the nut and the bridge are threaded rods. This will let you change the spacing between the strings if you like them closer or a little farther apart. You can also use larger or smaller threaded rods to change the string height if you choose to. What else shall we discuss? If it's electric, you want to be very careful plugging it in and unplugging it. These are fairly durable, but they can be broken. You really don't want to tear up the jack, so be gentle when you plug it in and when you unplug it. You'll notice the bolt at the bottom, the bridge, can be moved forward and back. There's a very specific reason for that. It's intonation. To intonate the instrument, you want to hit a harmonic on the 12th fret, play the open note, and be sure they're an octave apart. You can also slide up to the note. If they don't sound like the same note, you have an intonation issue. Let me show you. If the bridge is too far forward, we're right over the pickup. Hear how it's a little sharp? Our string scale's a little small, so when we slide up to the 12th note, it's a little sharp. Let's try to move it too far back. Nearly a full step flat. The string's too long. We've moved that center point. Generally, I put a graphite pencil mark somewhere on the instrument to give you a general idea of where the intonation will be. It will vary if you change the gauge of the strings. It may vary depending on how you tune the overall instrument. It may vary depending on the age of the strings. There are several factors. So once you have strings on it and you're pretty well in tune, we'll get to tuning. Once you have it strung up and tuned, check the intonation, move the bolt back and forth until the note open, harmonic, and sliding up to the 12th fret all sound the same. Please note, I don't mean the same on a tuner. I mean the same to your human ears. We're not going to be using tuners. We'll be getting to tuning in a moment. Tuners aren't involved. But you will notice when you play a note open and slide up to that 12th fret, you'll hear isn't right, isn't right, is right. You'll become accustomed to what's an octave. So intonation means intonating the string by moving the bridge until the harmonic and the note on the 12th fret are both an octave up from the first note. I hope that makes sense. It's the best I can explain it, but that's what you do. Let's move on to tuning. We're tuning the instruments to an open tuning. When I say an open tuning, I'm not real specific. Is it an open G, an open A? Well, if you're tuning to another instrument, you might need a specific note, and you can use a tuner to tune to that note. What I like to do with a roots instrument is to tune it by ear, and I start simply with a little tighter, a little looser with everything until it feels like the right tension. If it's a little too loose, it's going to sound kind of plunky. You can probably get a little tighter than you expect to, but I think you'll sort of feel it when it's getting a little too tight. So just cautiously tighten up to where you think you're comfortable. In this case, I'm probably tuned to roughly an A or a B. So for the sake of argument, let's say it's an A. Here's how we tune. Remember do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. In Western music, there's only 8 notes in the whole universe. That's what they are. They are do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. What we're looking for is 1 and 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Do, re, mi, fa, so. So now, let's go back to the beginning. With that in mind, we have a note. The middle string, that's the 5th note. The middle string should be that note. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then a full octave from the first. 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 5, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. If I could sing, but that's why I play. 1, 5, 8. Now, since we have a chord, we can bar that, still a chord. Everything becomes a chord, and you can play anything. That's why we use an open tuning. 1, 5, 8. If you want it higher, what note is it? I don't know, but I'll pretend it sounds right because of who I'm trying to play along to, or something on the radio. Yeah. So how do I tune? 1. Oh, and I'll show you these skills later. The important thing is you've always had that in your head since you were little. Do, re, mi, fa, so. Sing that to yourself when you hear do, re, mi, fa, so, la, ti, do. It's already in your head. You just have to put it on the guitar. 1, 5, 8. That's open tuning. If you're using a 3-string guitar, it's probably been intended to hold like a normal guitar. If it's a slide guitar, it's intended to play with a slide. When you're holding a slide, it should be down to the 2nd knuckle. It shouldn't go beyond that and make you keep your fingers straight. You should be able to bend your hand comfortably, but you're still slightly bending that last knuckle to grip on the inside so that it doesn't fall off. You can also kind of support it with a finger on either side. Not going to go anywhere. So now that you've got it on you, you can use other fingers. Lots of different musicians have different preferences. There's nothing wrong. Use any finger you'd like. Personally, I like this one. The important thing is to have control of it, so it's not going to go anywhere. Now, you don't want to play too hard. You don't want to press to where you're hitting the fretboard, certainly, or even pulling the string to where the notes become sour and sharp. You want to just press hard enough to hear a note. If you're too light, you'll hear a rattle. Not a good. If you have the right pressure, starts to sound good. A little practice, you'll realize what's too light and what's a good pressure. But people tend to press a little hard. Don't press too hard. Just hard enough to get the note. That's all you have to do. Another important thing is try to stay parallel to the fret. If you're at an odd angle, you got a sour note. Other way, it's not there. Your slide is replacing the nut, which is straight. You also want to be straight. As best you're able. You can be a little off. These are Roots instrument. And honestly, every imperfection just gives it more character. So don't be too nervous about this. But you'll know when you've got it close enough and it starts to sound good. Get the right amount of pressure, not too hard, not too light. Keep it straight as you can with the fret markings. And beyond that, rather than just hitting a note, it's good to slide up. It gives it more the character of a human voice. Also with Roots instruments, some of the early musicians were blind, and so they would slide up to the note, and they became sensitive of where it was, when to stop, how to hit that note, but they had to find it. They couldn't just be there. They had to find it and listen for it. So you're emulating a style that was created by people that created it out of necessity, and there's something that just sort of feels good about doing it that way. So a little slide up to the note. Once you're there, tremolo. It's a very slight. It keep the wrist straight at almost your whole forearm. Just gives it a little shake. A little tremolo. That'll give it more of just a nice soulful human sound. Let's discuss strumming. You can strum with a pick. You notice I'm muting with my other hand when I have a chance. So it's not just, you can do that too. Mute with the other hand. If you don't mute, not much going on there, so it's nice to mute. Just lightly laying your palm slightly above the bridge rather than you get and alternating between the two can sound good. Another thing when you're strumming, get comfortable strumming up and down. Then, once you're comfortable with that, strum lightly. Use just the slightest tip of the pick. Use a light pick. Do whatever works, but these things might help. Once you've got a strum, concentrate on the first being on more the lower, and the rest being high. Like. that's emphasized enough. It's a little more casual than that, but it's so all your strums don't sound the same. Give you some variety. You then carry through the whole song if you like with that. So the notion is become comfortable picking up and down, muting with your palm, muting with your fingers if they're available, and sliding up to the notes, giving it vibrato, doing everything you can do to put your own sound and your own interpretation into the music. Another thing you can do beyond picking with a pick or strumming, you can strum without a pick. I'm holding my hands as though I had a pick, and I'm using the top of my thumb and the bottom of my pointer finger. That's a way to strum. You can finger pick, and that involves your thumb plays the bottom string, your first finger plays the middle, plucking upward. Second finger plays the bottom string, plucking upward. This all sorts of rhythms. One would be 1, 3, 1, 2, 1, 3. You might vary that. The variation was, which becomes a fun little trick at first. That should be enough to get you playing the instrument. Let's look at the Diddley Bow next. This Diddley Bow has an E string from a normal set of 6-string guitar strings. It's tuned just simply to a tension that feels comfortable. A little too loose, you tend to hit the fretboard. You want enough tension that you can play your notes without, bumping into the wood. You'll know when it's too loose. It'll sound kind of plunky. Well, there's too loose, and it just has a plunky. It's not musical. It sounds too loose. You tighten it up. Not bad. It's a little tighter. Cool. I've no idea what note it is, but this is a Diddley Bow. This comes from a long time ago, and when they made these and played them more commonly, they didn't have tuners. They probably didn't have radios to listen to. They were probably out in the middle of nowhere, but they wanted something to play, so they would make something like this, and they would tune it to whatever the wire would lend itself to. They tended to use wire from a broom. Brooms were bound to the handle with steel wire that could be taken off, and it wasn't stretchy like fence wire. You could use it for an instrument and it'd do a better job of staying in tune. but the instrument was limited to what the string would allow for. Nowadays we have guitar strings. They're much more dependable, but in this case it's still nice to just tune it to where it feels good. This isn't about science and math and specifics and precision. This is about listening and enjoying notes in music. So don't be too hung up on how to tune or where to tune. If the string feels good, play the string. How to play the string. You'll want to slide. You don't have to worry so much about being parallel as you would if it were a 3-string or 6-string guitar. It's a little more forgiving. And gosh, there's not a lot to know about the slide. Don't press too hard. Don't press too soft. Press hard enough. Too hard, it goes up sharp. Hits the wood. So not hard enough to hit the wood, not hard enough to, or not light enough to rattle. You'll find a good in between. And again, just like with a 3-string, slide up to the notes. Generally, to give it some feel, and use vibrato. Use it. You use it liberally. Put on plenty. Not a timid instrument, so let yourself go crazy on it. What else to know? Muting. Muting with your palm, just like a 3-string, rather than you can have so you can use combinations, and you can use a pick, you can use your fingers. And I think you're about ready to play a song. Okay, we're going to make up a song here so you can get some general idea of how to approach playing the 3-string guitar. We're going to use 3 chords, the 1, the 4, and the 5. I don't mean frets, I mean notes in an 8-note scale. 1, 2, 3. I'm referring to the 1, the 4, and the 5. For your frets, that's open, and then the 5th fret and the 7th fret. But I'd rather you think of them musically as 4 and 5. So, instead of just the note, we play the chord. We'll do a simple rhythm strumming. Like to strum up word mute, you know. mess it up a little if you want, but we're looking for the 1, the 4, and the 5. We'll play that with drums in a moment. First, I'm going to teach you 2 scales, the major scale and the blues scale. The major scale you're familiar with, it's in your head. It's how to get it on the guitar. It's here. You'll find it at open, 2, 4, 5, 7, 9, 11, and 12. That's the frets. One more time. 0, 2, 4, 5, 7, 9, 11, and 12. Practice that till you're comfortable. And now, once you're comfortable with that, I'd like you also to learn the blues scale. It's 0, 3, 5, 6, 7, 10, 12. Zero, 3, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10, and 12. 0, 3, 5, 6, 7, 10, 12. Forget that 9. I never said that. You can't prove anything. So, now that we have those 2 scales, we're going to play a rhythm, then we'll add a lead using both scales. If I'm successful with my magic looper pedal, that will be continuing the rhythm for me once we've played it. Here we go. First of all, with the drums, we'll do our rhythm. Okay, we're going to try that one more time. Then we'll add first the major scale for a lead and then the blues scale for a lead. Here we go. Blues scale. Okay, let's see what we can do with a diddley bow. These work great for rhythm or lead situations, but they sound nice on their own as a solo instrument, so I think I'll demonstrate it that way. And I'll be playing something based on a blues scale. One thing I may not have mentioned, sometimes you'll hear a rattle. It might be you're not pressing hard enough. But it might also be the nature of the instrument. Sometimes they rattle a little on their own. The way to get rid of that, use one of the fingers you're not using to hold the slide. Lay it very gently, just anywhere behind the slide. Just gently mute with it, and you'll mute out that extra rattle and vibration. So rather than, you should have nice good tones each time. So remember that. Keep an extra finger or two laying gently on the string behind the slide to mute the vibration. That should get rid of any rattle. And once in a great while you might even want that, but you'll get a feel for it. Just remember, you can lay a couple of strings behind the slide. Use the slide the same as you have been, but lay a couple of fingers behind it gently. Should eliminate any rattle that's messing things up. So, back to what I was doing. What was I doing? Making up a song solo with a blues scale. Okay, let's start up a drum, see what we can do. And that's how to play a diddley bow. And I think that's everything. So now that you have some notion how to play, dive on in. There's lots of information on the internet. Find everything you can, learn everything you can, but the important thing is just have fun. Enjoy yourself. I hope you have a ball with these instruments. That's what they're for. Go get them. Have a good time.